Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the November 30th edition of the Sports Arena. Your man, Eric Wilson. It's been one heck of a Thanksgiving vacation. I'm glad to be back in the building with everybody. And thank you so much for everybody tuning and chiming in here on Facebook, Twitter, and of course, YouTube, as well as the website, www.thesportsarena1.com. Listen, we got a lot to talk about. And as I try to get through this evening, as my team is currently down at the half, if you happen to see any facial expressions throughout the evening, just know I'm not mad at the crew. It's the fact that my team at 3-6-1 just can't seem to get it done against the Seattle Seahawks. Enough talk about that. I got plenty to get to. Let me bring the fellas up in here. Of course, my man, telling both sides of the story, Mr. Jake Rongholt. Jake, good evening, sir. How are you? What's going on, my brother?
I am fantastic. I am glad that Thanksgiving has come to a close. I did not eat too much food, and I was able to get back to the gym at least. But I won't lie to you. I'm kind of wondering if these football players need to get back into the gym right now with all this COVID happening. So
yeah, and we're definitely going to talk about that. But let me get the big dog in here, Mr. Alex Fleming. Good evening, sir. How are you?
I don't know, a little bit sideways. I'm well rested for Thanksgiving, coming back from Jacksonville and right about Tampa. I've been busy.
And of course,
did Dave Caldwell hijack your stream there, Alex? I just got to know because you kind of been freezing in and out here. So I want to make sure you have primo streaming, unlike Dave Caldwell.
Yeah, no, Dave Caldwell hijacked my internet browser. He took my email address. Man, once they fired him, now my internet's working fine.
Well, let me get the mouth of the West up in here because I know he sure has a lot to say this evening. My man, Mr. Michael Carrottenuto. Brother, I think the only person besides you who hasn't shaved since COVID started has been me, but neither one of us can seem to grow a full beard. So, you know.
Eric, time out. This is like 4 days, man. If I didn't shave the whole time of COVID, I would look like Brian Wilson or James Hart. I look like James Hart, and I'll give a shout out to his Sun Devil. I look like James Hart. But look, how can you be upset? I mean, as much as it pains me to say, I had to eat a lot of food on Thanksgiving to get all comatose after that football game. So I was like, you know what? Eric and I shouldn't be mad anymore. Our division sucks. Good for the Giants winning because I can't stand Washington. I can't stand that team ever, ever, ever. Our teams suck. Let's just go on the We Suck tour the rest of the season and just make fun of everybody else's teams when they choke.
Okay, fair enough. Hey, I'm down like 4 flat tires to do that. Our girl, Ruth the Truth, I want to send a special shout out to her, co-host of the Martin Gramatica Show, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Congratulations to her, getting 907 followers on Twitter. That being said, our man, Mr. Jake Rongholt's got a brand new Twitter handle. Jake, if you want to take a couple seconds, just let everybody know where they can find you on Twitter with all your I almost gave Mike credit here. Your podcast and your articles that you put out.
Yes, you can go to @BothSidesSports. That's a brand new Twitter handle that you could find there. Don't worry, same opinion, still talking both sides of the story. You don't want to miss it. It's always been a lot of fun with this. The reason I changed my Twitter handle was because I had too much spam, political posts, and all that kind of stuff. And you know me, I want to talk sports with people because I feel like that's when we become united. So remember, @BothSidesSports.
There you go. So, gentlemen, I want to get into the stuff here tonight on the Sports Arena. And, of course, the first topic is, what was supposed to be the Thursday night matchup then got moved to a potential, Sunday night matchup. Well, then that got moved to a Tuesday night matchup. And now, God willing, from our lips to God's ears, the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers will play this Wednesday, 3:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the afternoon, which means for Mike, it's great because it's an afternoon game. I mean, it's like regular Sunday. But for us who are here on the East Coast, it's like, well, damn, do I take a half day of work to go home and watch the Steelers and Ravens game? But I have to ask you guys, what in the world is going on with this entire situation? It just seems like day in and day out, more players are getting contracted, and this game continually is getting pushed back, so much so that they've already revamped the schedule for next week. I mean, Jake, actually, let me go to Alex on this one first. Alex, I got to get your thoughts on this, man, because your boy El Freaky, he caught COVID, and now it just seems as though the Ravens, MVP caliber team, MVP from last season. It feels, and I've heard a lot of people say, that the NFL is kind of catering to this team a little bit. I got to get your thoughts on it.
Thank you. The NFL doesn't give a damn about its players. Let me say that again. The NFL doesn't give a damn about its players. Now, there was an opt-in and an opt-out season. You had a choice to opt in. Well, if you opt in and you got sick, you were on the IR. It was supposed to be 3 weeks, and they cut it back to 2 weeks because they knew the 2 weeks was still problematic, but 3 would be non-beneficial. If they have to go to a week 18 schedule, that means there's going to be 8 teams in the playoffs. So that way they can track some of the money that they lost if there was a postponed game. You have 14 plus players for the Baltimore Ravens who are sick, have contacted COVID, and are probably spreading it. But instead of canceling the game or even forfeiting the game, which probably would have been better but would have caused a strike for the Baltimore Ravens organization, you now have them play a week after they initially started. Now, let's get this straight. You now have players who are going to play in the game a week after it was originally scheduled who could potentially get the Pittsburgh Steelers sick and cause them to miss their undefeated streak against the Washington football team the next following week and down the road. Does the NFL care about the longevity of its players or about the deep weight of their pockets? This isn't the first time this happened, gentlemen. Think about the Tennessee Titans earlier this season. Did they postpone or stop that? Just a week, but it cost Pittsburgh the bye week. Now Pittsburgh's getting screwed again with no Vaseline, having to postpone 1 full week that they could have had off because they've been playing Sundays and Mondays straight. Now this game's been postponed, which puts back their plans. Now you ask Mike Tomlin, he'll tell you straight up, they don't care. We want that smoke. They want that smoke. But for Baltimore, Lamar Jackson, I'm glad you mentioned him, is the MVP. And they can profit off of Lamar Jackson. So you know what? If Lamar Jackson can't play this Wednesday, hopefully, maybe we could get him on a Monday or Tuesday night tilt against those pathetic Dallas Cowboys, and we can profit off of that. Because hell, merchandise sales and all these other things, they matter. So no, the NFL doesn't give a damn about these players.
All right, so then Mike, you called out your team. Let's go right to you, my brother. Give me your thoughts on this, because does this, by Baltimore and Pittsburgh, their game continually getting pushed back, does this allow your Dallas Cowboy team to get better? And even though you are currently last in the division, you still have a shot to freaking win the division. So what's up?
Well, I would just rephrase Alex's statement a teeny bit. The NFL doesn't give a damn about their non-star players, guys that become stars. Because, yes, with Lamar Jackson getting it, not playing, but Alex, you knew they weren't going to cancel it due to the fact that look what happened to Denver. I mean, not a legitimate quarterback can play, and they go with a guy that was a salesman that played quarterback yesterday. So they don't want to cancel the game. You said it last week. They don't want to. I think we said it last week too. They don't want to add an 8th team. They really don't want to push it that week. Now, if a team finishes late, they have no problem pushing games back, Alex. And I can't believe it took me this long to put it together, because they have no problem taking just a week between the championship game and the Super Bowl instead of the 2 weeks if they have to. They have that buffer. So that's what they want to do. Does it help the Cowboys, Eric? Yes, absolutely, because at least it gives them more time and film. And the point is, Lamar Jackson, if he's not able to play, I mean, from Wednesday to Monday, he's obviously not going to be cleared to play. So that does help the Cowboys. Yeah, RG3 does have familiarity against them, granted, different coaching staff a while back. But, yeah, I mean, the NFL, again, you knew it was going to come to this, especially with Tennessee. When Pittsburgh did get screwed like that, I agree, because they had to take that bye in week 3 when you're prepping for a team. But you're right, Mike Tomlin had the right answer. Because what's he going to say? If he starts whining and complaining, I mean, players are going to sit there and do it. And the NFL is going to be like, okay, you want to whine and complain? We'll make you play on a Wednesday, and then you can play again on a Sunday. Good luck with that. And that's inevitably what the Ravens are going to have to do. They're going to play Wednesday and Monday. So, again, yes, do they care? No. Do they want to add an 8th team? Absolutely not. They'd rather have 1 week in between the championship game and the Super Bowl, which hurts them even more anyway, in my eyes, especially from a money side.
Well, here's the thing about that. If you decide to just put a 1 week clause in between the conference championship game and the Super Bowl, what does that mean for the Pro Bowl? Now, I know what a lot of people are going to say. No one really cares about the Pro Bowl. Oh, that's right. They got rid of the Pro Bowl this year. That's right. Okay, so then with that, Let me go to my man directly underneath me now, as I call him the hitman, Jake. And Jake, let's take the money out of the equation here, okay? If you are the Pittsburgh Steelers and you are an undefeated team right now, how are you feeling? How slighted are you by this? And again, I'm going to go back to one of my original statements. Is the NFL catering to Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens?
Well, yes, of course they are, because Lamar Jackson is a human highlight reel. At least that's what he was as an MVP last year. So they want to be able to create this Ravens and Steelers rivalry one more time and see if they can bring down the big bad Steelers. But at the fact of this right now, the Ravens have 18 people on the COVID list. They only have 2 running backs that remain eligible with J.K. Dobbins and Mark Ingram, but that's about it. So they're going to have to go with either Robert Griffin III, or they're going to have to go with Trace McSorley, that stud from Penn State. But the fact of the matter is that the Ravens kind of did this to themselves. But look at the other side of the story. The NFL doesn't want to cancel a game because they already know that they're going to be in the red at the end of the season. A good example is what we heard last night in the Green Bay-Chicago game. Did you know that the Green Bay Packers, the city of Green Bay will lose $150 million profit? That includes the people that have parking lots in their front yards or use it to pay property tax. So it's not just right now Baltimore and Pittsburgh that are feeling it right now. Green Bay is feeling it. The entire NFL is going to feel it. Trust me, when the final numbers come out after they crown a Super Bowl champion, you're going to see truly how much millions of dollars the NFL lost this year because they don't have fans, they don't have parking, they don't have concessions. I mean, last night we had 500 people. We don't have anybody at the Philadelphia Eagle game tonight. So it's just a lot of different things that are happening here. But understand this, the Ravens, like I said, did this to themselves because they had a strength and conditioning coach that was there. He had COVID. He was asymptomatic, and the team did nothing about it. So it doesn't surprise me that they had this huge outbreak because this strength and conditioning coach that doesn't wear a mask is around these guys 24/7, 365 days a year, or at least in football terms, at least 5 days a week. So, like I said, the Ravens did it to themselves. The Steelers, look, you could be a little slighted, but understand this. This is not the first time it's happened to you. The Steelers-Titans game was postponed. That was moved around. The Steelers-Ravens game, that was postponed. What's another game? It doesn't matter. You're 11-0. You should be thankful that you're undefeated because you're 20th in offense. A rookie wide receiver is saving your life with 8 touchdowns. And not to mention your defense, your front 7 is doing 10. Thank you. 10 touchdowns. But your defense is doing the majority of the work. If you believe that you are truly an undefeated team and you want to go 16-0 or hell, try and get that Lombardi trophy, prove me wrong. Go beat the Ravens, regardless who's at quarterback. Enough of this whining, enough of this complaining. Go play and put your big boy pants on and go represent Pittsburgh.
Okay, and I will agree with you, but I will end by simply saying this. You talked about where their Pittsburgh offense is ranked, and a big shout out to Chase Claypool for doing the damn thing this year. But 3 simple words, Jake: defense wins championships. And at the end of the day, that's what Pittsburgh's going to rely on. Let's keep it moving, and I'm coming right back to Jake because, brother, I tip my hat. If I had, I tip it to you. What the Green Bay Packers did last night, very simply have to ask the question: have the Chicago Bears finally showed their true colors? And I'm going right back to my man, Jake Rongholt.
Well, the Bears, showed their true colors about 2 games ago when they lost to the Minnesota Vikings on Monday Night Football and embarrassed themselves. I don't care if it's Nick Foles. I don't care if it's Mitchell Trubisky. This is a dumpster fire of a football team with a very good defense. And this very good defense once again gave up over 100 yards on the ground yesterday to the Packers, 4 touchdowns by Aaron Rodgers. And then Mitchell Trubisky, this was crazy to me. Tony Dungy and Mike Tirico had the fortune to talk to Mitchell Trubisky throughout the week. And Dungy said, and I quote, "This sounded like a different Mitchell Trubisky, but the song stayed the same because he went 26 for 46, 242 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 deep ball interceptions." This is a disaster. Matt Nagy went from the 29th offense when he came in, turned it to the 9th, went back to the 29th, and now they are ranked 30th. Ryan Pace trades the 3rd pick, 67th and 111th pick, and the 2018 3rd round for a guy who had 13 starts with the University of North Carolina. And then, not to mention, Charles Leno Jr., one of the worst offensive tackles in the NFL, gets a $42 million contract. They keep the turnstile Bobby Massey around at right tackle, and they have given up way too many free agents that they actually need. So it is just it's a mess right now. It's 3 building blocks that have to be gone for Chicago to rebuild. Ryan Pace has to go, Matt Nagy has to go, and Mitchell Trubisky has to take like a 1-year, $6 million contract with another team. The Chicago Bears are a joke, and they're going to continuously be a joke. You can't be down 41-10 and not look at this team and go, oh yeah, this is a pretty good team. This is a 6-10 team written all over it.
I mean, a team that started 5-0, and now it seems that they have caught up to who we expected them to be this year. I'm going to go to my man, Alex Fleming, because even though he does cover Tampa, Jacksonville, and all things Florida, he is originally from the Midway. So, Alex, I want to know where you are right now, where you stand when it comes to the monsters, or should I say the mice of the Midway. And more importantly, I got to get you to respond to Jake and what he spoke about your team, your hometown team, shall we say.
Well, I have a couple of things to address. First, I want to give a shout out to all the people who are muting me or bugging me out whenever I speak because the numbers seem to drop. But I thank you because I love what I do, and you're going to see more of me in the future. Get used to it. Number 2, mice of the Midway. You meant monsters of the Midway. We had something that you guys couldn't even obtain in Philadelphia until 3 years ago, and that's a Lombardi Trophy. As a matter of fact, we have quite a few of those.
Wait,
so watch what you say without the whole little mice comment.
Okay,
you thought you were slick. You're not.
I was just
Number 3, Green Bay. Jake. In 1991, the record was 85-57-6 Chicago had over the Green Bay Packers. You guys have been blessed and had Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. You guys have 2 championships out of the 35 to 36 years if you had extreme quarterback play. So let's not pretend that Green Bay doesn't have problems. And by the way, the record is now 195-7 in Green Bay's favor. So congratulations, you finally caught up, but this is a historic rivalry. Right now, Chicago is a dumpster fire. You and I both agree on this. Why the hell do you have 10 tight ends on the roster? Why the hell did you pass up on Cam Newton this offseason and get Nick Foles? Better yet, why did you give up your 3rd pick to San Francisco and then pass up on not only Patrick Mahomes, but Deshaun Watson. I looked in Chicago Bears history, and I can tell you the truth, but people don't like me getting political. That's why the numbers drop. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'll just blow you a kiss and lead you to figure that out for yourself. Guys, the defense is a Lamborghini. The offense is a Pinto missing an engine. Matt Nagy was supposed to be an offensive guru coming out of Kansas City, and all of a sudden, from 9th to 19th to 29th to 30th, for the love of God, why would Allen Robinson want to stay? Quarterback can't throw him the football. Nick Foles and Mitchell Trubisky isn't the answer. Guys, can we get some offensive line? Isn't this what killed Dak Prescott and caused Andrew Luck to retire early? And you're absolutely right about Leno. How the hell are you going to let a bum get a $42 million contract and then let your ogre, Kyle Long, retire because he sees the way the organization is going? Now, they started 5-1. Indianapolis beat them to make them 3-1. They were never 5-0. But with that being said, they went from 5-1 to now 5-6. They're actually tied with Minnesota only because of strength of schedule. They've been exposed. And they're a fringe playoff team. And I don't want to see this team in the playoffs because, 1, they don't deserve it. 2, they're a first-round exit. I'd rather they miss the playoff, get a decent round pick, and try to clean house. Pace needs to go.
If Nagy, I may say so.
You're on the hot seat. As well, you are on the hot seat. You are officially on the hot seat. And as far as quarterbacks is concerned, get rid of both of those bums. Nick Foles doesn't know how to act right unless he's in Philadelphia. And Mitchell Trubisky is not better than Mahomes. He's not better than Watson. And he's not better than half the other quarterbacks that came out of this year's draft. You messed up. You made a mistake. You probably need to pull a Detroit and start looking for some diversity.
All right, I'm going to give Jake the final word, and then we're going to move on to the next subject. Mike, I got something for you. Don't worry about it. I'm going to give you your time. Jake, I'm going to give you the final word on this Chicago showing their true colors. Go ahead.
Look, the Chicago Bears, it's not over for them. If the Detroit Lions can rebuild again with Bob Quinn being fired and Matt Patricia being fired, why can't the Bears? But if the Bears truly want to actually make a dent in firing somebody, you have to demote one of the McCaskies. You have to demote George McCaskey, and you have to get Ted Phillips out of there because Ted Phillips is the guy. He's the yes guy. He's the one that says, oh, yes, sir, Mr. George McCaskey. I'll get us another tight end and another and another. By the way, how'd that fourth-round draft pick Adam Shaheen go? Oh, right, he's at Miami catching touchdowns from Tua and Ryan Fitzpatrick. And then Cole Kmet can't catch the broadside of a barn. You give Jimmy Graham $30 million, which made every Packer fan laugh because even we were smart enough to actually get rid of this guy. But Alex, you're absolutely right. This is a team that has only won 2 Super Bowls, one with Brett Favre and one with Aaron Rodgers. But when it comes to that, we're gold standard compared to what the Chicago Bears have been able to pour out and not show any sign of being a Super Bowl contender. Even when they lost the Super Bowl to Peyton Manning, they came up badly and embarrassed themselves outside of Devin Hester.
Okay. All right. We're moving on from this Green Bay Chicago fight because this could lead long into the night. Mike, I know you're shaking your head, but I got something. Mike, I got something special for you. I'm about to let you loose, my brother. Something I very rarely do here on the Sports Arena. Let me give my shout out to everybody, to Alex Fleming, Jacksonville Jaguars contributor, Florida Sun Review, NFL Carousel host, and Jake Rongholt, Turning Point Podcast. Make sure you check him out. So, Mike, you ready? This is my early Christmas present to you. A very simple question that I know you're going to love talking about. Has Father Time finally caught up to your favorite quarterback, Tom Brady? God. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Carrot-Tenuto.
All right. First, disdain or not, you can say he was one of the greatest of an era of all time. But the whole Father Time thing, he never was able to step up in the pocket and take hits. And yes, quarterbacks don't want to do that. But I can find through time and show highlights of quarterbacks that knew they were going to get crushed, that stepped up into it and delivered dimes. So once he got hurt, again, torn ACL sucks, never wish that on anybody. But look, man, he always dinked and dunked in New England. So when the question in the offseason was, who's going to do better, Belichick or Brady? Look, yes, they were good for each other. He had a phenomenal career. Yes, you go to 9 Super Bowls, you win 6. I mean, you get owned by the NFC East because you couldn't beat the Giants and Eli Manning, or the Eagles and Alex's favorite, Nick Foles. So, yeah, I mean, a tiny bit. Yes, Father Time, a teeny bit. Is he still playing at a high level, as much as it pains me to say? Yes, but that's why you can't say greatest of all time, because I want everybody to think about this. The team they took on yesterday in the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, you think of Tom Brady in his prime years, you name me one thing physically that Tom Brady could do that Patrick Mahomes can't. I'm not talking right now with the age difference. I'm talking about in his prime. Go back and look at film. There is absolutely zero that Tom Brady could do that Patrick Mahomes can't. So, yes, Patrick Mahomes has a chance, and yes, it's 1 Super Bowl, but he's first in all these things, in all these categories. We've seen the crazy numbers and the stats, but it's just a head on his shoulders too. But, yeah, Father Time a little bit. He doesn't like being rushed up the middle. And again, you can say no quarterback does, but guys, you've seen quarterbacks throughout history that can stand up to it. There was a game even last year against Buffalo. Josh Allen stepped up in the pocket the series before and got absolutely crushed. I think it was by Hightower, if I remember. He came on a blitz, and you know that Josh Allen saw him. He stepped right up into him, delivered a 55-yard bomb for a touchdown, and on the replay, they couldn't stop. They couldn't talk enough about, man, that is one tough quarterback. Josh Allen, this and that. Man, Tom Brady used to get rushed by Terrell Suggs all the time, and he would throw sideways off his back foot. Anytime Terrell Suggs got close, he was whining. Father Time, it will always catch up. Can he play at a high level? Yes. The Saints are the best team in the NFC, with the caveat, though, because I know we're going to get to this with the 49ers, because I said to you guys earlier in the season, if the 49ers stay healthy, then they are the best team in the NFC. They got 4 straight against the Rams, but I know we're going to get to that. But I just will say this about Tom Brady. Father Time, yes, is caught up a little bit. He can still play at a high level. They weren't going to beat the Saints this year. Next year, if he does come back and play, to me, next year will be the telling thing, because could they go next year, whatever adjustments they make? But if you can get pressure, just like even though Aaron Donald didn't have a sack in that Rams game, how annoying was Aaron Donald getting through and guys putting pressure on him, which he couldn't handle? So again, offensive line needs to be there. Eric, you and I both know that because our teams are terrible, but they're victims of offensive line decimation. That being said, I will say next year will be the telling thing, but this year, I told you from the beginning, not even because of my disdain, they had no chance of winning the Super Bowl, and I'm sticking with New Orleans. But again, San Francisco gets healthy. I know we're going to talk about it. That's going to be scary though, but it is nice to see him, and at least he shook Patrick Mahomes' hand. I got to get this out, Alex. At least he went to shake Patrick Mahomes' hands, and he wasn't pouting off the field because they didn't win the game. So at least he went and shook Mahomes' hand. That was very nice of Brady.
All right. Alex, this is the team that you've
already caught up with Tom Brady.
All
Look,
right.
He can't hit a deep pass. He only hit one to Gronk to get people off of his back. Bro, they are 1-3 in their last 4 games. He's had 7 interceptions in his last 4 games. Did you see his hair after the loss in Kansas City? He looked like he was ready to speak to the manager. Look, you can't be screaming at teammates, taking over the offensive play calls, and not accepting any of the blame. Guys, Bruce Arians and Brian Leftwich is no longer calling the plays. They're calling the plays that Brady wants. So when you see this inept offense and the 3 and outs, that's Tom Brady. That's not Bruce Arians. That should let you know how bad this man is a control freak. Antonio Brown wasn't supposed to be with the team. Bruce Arians didn't want to deal with Antonio Brown. Who's been on the team for 4 weeks? Antonio Brown. You know who hasn't been a problem for the team for 4 weeks? Antonio Brown. You know what the record is for the last 4 weeks? 1-3. Do I need to bring up what happened against the Saints after all that jibber jabber that these Tampa Bay Buck fans were talking because they have the goat? We have the goat. Well, the goat's not looking that damn good, and he's not giving you any milk or cheese. Offense looks bad. Offensive line is horrible. These corners fall in love with playing man coverage, and they had to play zone against Green Bay. Thank you, Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers. They switched to zone, and they started picking people off. How in the hell are you not going to double team Tyreek Hill? Where they do that at? Just like Tyreek said after the 3rd touchdown, help is on the way. There's a problem from organization, coaching, coordination, quarterback, because he is not absent-free in this, and offensive line, and then defense would be probably the least amount of issues we have. When you turn the ball over and you put your offense and defense in bad situations, it doesn't help the team. Wait a second. Didn't I say this last year about Jameis Winston? I'm sorry. I digress. Father Time has already caught up with Tom Brady. He sold people snake oil, and they bought it, and they sold some to their friends. You can tell by how many Tampa Bay Tom Brady jerseys are in the Tampa Bay St. Pete area that the snake oil is running wild like COVID-19. And you know what? He's running out of time because Father Time is undefeated. Do you think you're going to get better out of a 44-year-old quarterback when you're already getting your ass beat in the NFC South? This isn't the AFC East, bro. Welcome to reality.
All right, real quick. I got to take a real quick break, 30 seconds, and then, Jake, I'm going to let you come back and close this segment out. More with the Sports Arena back in 30 seconds. And welcome back. I'm Eric Wilson alongside Jake Rongholt, Michael Caratenuto, and my man Alex Fleming here on the Sports Arena tonight. All right, Jake, I'm going to give you a final word on this one between has Father Time finally caught up to Tom Brady based on what you heard from our 2 brothers here, Michael Caratenuto and Alex Fleming?
Johnny Unitas, Joe Namath, Brett Favre, John Hadel, all Father Time got the best of them. And they were all, and 4 of the 5 were Hall of Fame. Of course, it was coming matter of time. Tom Brady is 43 years old, and he plays like it sometimes. The biggest problem is that this is the 5th time that I have seen him play 2 quarters of football. The first quarter, they completely disappeared. Actually, Tyreek Hill had over 269 yards for the game. He had alone 200 yards in the first half. You can't just come on the second quarter and say, all right, guys, we're going to get a touchdown, and then that's it. We're going to go into halftime, and then we'll be back in the fourth quarter. You can't do things like that. This is actually also the 11th time in his career that he has thrown 10-plus interceptions, and once again, he's doing it again in Tampa Bay with 11 interceptions. You have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski, but no offensive line. And it also goes to show, how do you beat Tom Brady? And this happened in New England. You get him out of sync. You make him feel like that pressure is coming after him, like his offensive line is not trustworthy. And he doesn't trust that offensive line in Tampa Bay. And it goes to show. When he throws deep ball passes, he looks like he's about to throw. He's like playing the game 500. And he's like, okay, 500, go get it. Anybody? Chiefs, Tampa, anybody? And then, of course, the Chiefs get a hold of it. Bashaud Breeland is a good example. Even though he had 345 yards, it was too late. Even though that they made it a comeback and it was 27-24, it was too late. I'm waiting for Tom Brady to play 4 quarters of football against a good football team. And guess what? I haven't seen it yet. Not even against Chicago.
Wow. All right.
Alex, real quick, though, nobody can double-team Tyreek Hill. That dude's too fast. I don't care if a safety's 15 yards downfield. Once he gets even, you're not touching him. You're not touching him.
You at least double team him so you let the quarterback know you're going to think twice about throwing this ball. So lackadaisically.
Well,
I mean, you've got to bump him within those first couple of yards and get him off. That's what you have to do. If you can do that, you might stand a chance. But to Mike's point, and I have to agree, that brother is just going to the house. I'm watching that game yesterday, and I'm like, there he goes again. There he goes again.
If you put a safety over the top, you make Patrick Mahomes think about throwing that football.
Yeah, but New England did that. New England did that last year or 2 years ago too. The safety was over the top, and he ran right by both of them diagonally. They can't. Right. Nobody can. It's like you say, well, I get what you're saying. You do have to try, and you do have to hit him. But that's just a disgusting weapon to have.
It is. But let's move on. All right. So, Jake and Mike, I want to go to you two guys, and I'm going to give both of you the opportunity on the split screen here to talk about this. So, because at one time, both of you have brought this to our attention here on the Sports Arena, as well as in your podcast, Believe in the Pac-12, and as well as on Turning Point podcast, telling both sides of the story. So, with the 49ers, as we saw yesterday, getting key players back, a la Richard Sherman and others, are they the true dark horse in the NFC? Should teams begin to fear the San Francisco 49ers? Alex and I are going to step out for a minute. Mike, Jake, I'm going to let both of you have the floor. Mike, I'm going to let you go first.
Yeah, I do think the 49ers are. And like I said, I mean, I thought it was a race between them and the Saints, fully healthy for the best team in the NFC coming into the season, just doing what they had come back. I know Jimmy Garoppolo was under a lot of fire and, Kyle Shanahan already wants a new quarterback because of the Super Bowl. Look, I mean, you had the lead. You were up by 10. Yes, some plays needed to be made. The Chiefs made them. But as for this season, they lost some, but you have Salah as a defensive coordinator. Richard Sherman, again, you don't want him banged up, but I think Kyle Shanahan knew they'd be okay. You can hold them out a few weeks. Probably didn't think he'd have all the injuries they did. But yeah, if you can run the ball like the 49ers have proven to, as Jake knows, I'm not picking on you, Jake, ask Packers fans, because they didn't throw the ball the whole second half of that NFC championship game. So the Niners, to me, I mean, if Jimmy Garoppolo's making plays, you get these young receivers back. I mean, yes, my guy, Brandon Ayuk, has looked good. You have speed on the outside. You have an offensive line that's good, but you have a defense, which, again, defense wins championships, that will punch you in the mouth, that will get pressure up the middle. I mean, the crazy thing is, with that victory yesterday, they've won 4 in a row over the Rams. I mean, the Rams have, won against the Cardinals, won against the Seahawks. Yes, it's 2 seasons of games, but still 4 in a row. I mean, Sean McVay's got to be pulling his hair out because they're right there. But again, it's a division game. It's a rivalry game. If you're Jimmy Garoppolo, again, you have the keys, like Alex said earlier. You have the keys to the Lamborghini, the Ferrari. I mean, the offense is there. The defense, though, is the big-time Lamborghini. Let them do their thing. March the ball down the field. Kyle Shanahan is a solid play caller. Well, sorry, when he decides to run the ball, Falcons fans. But that being said, like the Niners actually, even though the Cardinals, that was a bummer of a loss yesterday, a terrible penalty call at the end in my eyes. But the Niners, if they get it right, they actually did the Cardinals a favor by beating the Rams, because now that race is just intensifies. And if the Eagles could ever have a chance of beating the Seahawks. That would work for the Cardinals too. But for the Niners, Jake, it is money. It is absolutely.
Mike, I hate to interrupt you really quick, but I want to make sure we get this out. Alex just dropped some news to all of us. Alex, I'm gonna let you go ahead and take it, and then I'm gonna give you a chance to respond.
Bradley Roby and Will Fuller have both been suspended from the Houston Texans. Suspended for 6 games, so that means the season's done for them. PEDs. Why are we not shocked when the strength and conditioning coach is Brian Cushing? Gee, where did they get it from? They're going to claim that they didn't know, or that the medical professional is to blame, or they didn't know the substance that was put in their body. Let me say 2 things. 1, they say this because everybody expects an apology when they hold athletes to a higher caliber than politicians, and it's a damn shame. Number 2, these players are here for your entertainment. You want to treat them like entertainment? Let them entertain you. Do we remember the steroid era of the 90s? Do we remember when NFL players was eating these Vicodin and these steroids like candy, and nobody gave 2 damns about it? Well, these players are trying to heal, and they have to stay in tip-top shape because of COVID. Now, all of these armchair couch potato quarterbacks and GMs will say, well, do this, do that, fire Tomlin. They don't deserve that contract. These are the players' lives. This is their livelihood. You send DeAndre Hopkins to Arizona, you don't have a number 1 wide receiver. This is Will Fuller's chance to get paid, and you wonder why he hasn't been injured yet. Well, that's probably why he's using the PEDs. I'm not saying it's right. Fire Brian Cushing. Get some damn leadership in that Houston Texans organization. Give that lady her job back. And if you're going to suspend them, at least give them treatment.
All right. That being said, Jake, I want to get your take on the 49ers and them being the true dark horse. We still got 2 more topics left on the sports arena. Just wanted to break in and talk to you guys about that. Jake, you're up, my brother.
Well, hopefully Brian Cushing does get fired after that mess. But anyway, yes, the 49ers are still the dark horse to beat, and they are 5-6. Arizona is 6-5. We're starting to see that the Cardinals are not as superb as everybody thinks that they are. They have some flaws, and it's all starting with the coach Cliff Kingsbury. But we'll get into that another day. Look, Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson, and Deebo Samuel, and Richard Sherman, the field general himself, all came back. Outside of George Kittle, they were a mostly healthy team, and they took out the Rams. 28 rushes, 86 yards, and a touchdown between Mostert and Wilson Jr. How about Deebo Samuel? The versatility of this player is unbelievable. 11 receptions, 133 yards. Look at their defense. 6th ranked. They give up only 206 passing yards per game. They are 4th in pass defense, 10 interceptions on the year, and they don't have the majority of their players. Now they are getting healthy at the right time. Now the schedule is not easy. They have to go to Arizona and play their 2 home games. It's going to be Buffalo and the Washington football team, 2 hot teams that are coming in. They have to play hard. They got Dallas. That'll be a cakewalk. Arizona, that is something to watch out for. And then it feels like if San Francisco can get up there near Seattle, we might have a fight for the NFC West crown. It's possible. Anything is possible in that division. It's the best division in football. And if they get Jimmy Garoppolo, that's even better. Watch out for the San Francisco 49ers. Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, and Robert Saleh have done an amazing job keeping this team upright.
All right, gentlemen, let's keep it moving here on the Sports Arena. Man, Eric Wilson alongside Michael Caratanudo, Alex Fleming, and Jake Rongholt. So, gentlemen, it's carousel time. I'm going to give you gentlemen 90 seconds to very simply answer one question. You each get 90 seconds, and Mike, you're going to go first. Who's winning the AFC South, the Colts or the Tennessee Titans? Mike, you're up.
Well, they split the season series, as we know. But look, if you're gonna have the Titans formula, you play smash mouth defense. You're banged up on the offensive line, but you have Derrick Henry, and he gets back to the line of scrimmage. It's over for linebackers. You're not bringing him down at 1 tackler. They are running the ball phenomenally. I got to go with the Titans. I mean, what they can do, Mike Vrabel hasn't doing on defense. Yes. Terrell Lewan still not back offensively. He comes back. That offensive line gets even nastier. But look, Derrick Henry, you can give this guy the ball 30 times a game, and it's crazy because you always hear the old cliche, he gets better as the game goes on. But he does. He gets stronger as the game goes on. So you can go old school football. You can pound the rock. And it's one of those things where if you're if you're the Colts, I mean, you needed that game. Yeah, you beat them the first time, but you really needed that game at home. And the Titans balled out. So I got to say, I think the Colts end up in the playoffs, though. I think they definitely have enough to get there. But the Titans will go in as South champs. And again, you have Derrick Henry, but again, it's complementary pieces. Tannehill, we see, can make the throws because teams have to come up and respect Derrick Henry. And even if you jam the box, it's crazy because he still gets through. He still falls forward and gains some yards. Very few negative plays, and Ryan Tannehill's doing a solid job. So I love what I say the Titans win the South.
Alex, Colts or Titans, my brother? Who you got?
We talked about this during the COVID age, did we not? I don't trust Phillip Rivers. He'll shoot you in games. He'll shoot you out of games. That defense was legit, but got exposed yesterday. A.J. Brown, guy I've been following for a while, the other receiver from Ole Miss. He only had 2 touchdowns yesterday, couple of receptions. One of the touchdowns was off a kickoff return because they tried the extra, the onside kick. Yeah, that didn't work out too well. Bro, Derrick Henry, 26 carries, 178 yards, quite a few touchdowns. They have the Hulk. Now, they have a bend but don't break defense. They, of course, could be better, but they already have one win against Jacksonville with one more to go. Nobody's really worried about Houston because in the shootout, Tennessee won that matchup. And now that they split with the Indianapolis Colts, they have the freeway to the number 4 seed. But here's the thing. Indianapolis isn't going anywhere. They'll probably be the 5 or 6 seed. So there's an outside chance that they might play each other for the 3rd time if they end up being the 4th and 5th seed. I'm looking at 2 weeks from now when Tennessee has to play the Green Bay Packers. That's my measuring stick to see if they're really legit or if they're just the best in the AFC South due to Bill O'Brien. Let's not forget, Houston's won this division 4 of the last 5 years. They're damn sure not winning it this year. And the year that they didn't win it, it was the Indianapolis Colts. Buckle in. Stay tuned.
Jake, Colts or Titans? Who you got?
I'm going with the Titans because there are 2 coaches that actually listen to Bill Belichick, Brian Flores in Miami and Mike Vrabel in Tennessee. Look what has happened. 4 of the last 5 games, Derrick Henry has had 100-plus yards. He has 5 touchdowns in that streak as well. Not to mention, A.J. Brown has actually turned to be the best underrated receiver in the National Football League. When you are average 7 targets a game, 7 of your 9 games, you have scored a touchdown, and you have turned Ryan Tannehill into one of the top quarterbacks. In fact, yesterday, he was 13 for 22, and also 7 were to A.J. Brown. As long as A.J. Brown and Corey Davis, who has come to life at the right time, Jonnu Smith is really stepping up, and that offensive line, I give a lot of credit to the depth chart off that left side because that has really helped out. The Colts, they just look like a team that has such great young playmakers in the making with Jonathan Taylor, Naheem Hines, and Jordan Wilkins, and Michael Pittman. But the problem is they have too old of a quarterback. He does give up too many games. He also wins you games, but he also gives them up. And you know what he's like in the playoffs. I love Frank Reich. I like the way Chris Ballard's building this up. But that defense without DeForest Buckner was lost in translation. They need to get better with their depth chart and start building up that defensive line correctly. They're still a playoff team, but they are not a Super Bowl contender anytime soon. You can't lose to your arch rival like they did. I'm going with the Titans, AFC South champions.
Hey, Eric, real quick, early hot take. Since the Jets are going to lose every game, obviously, and draft Trevor Lawrence, Sam Darnold is going to be Frank Reich's quarterback of the future. I don't think that's crazy hot, but it's going to happen because they're going to go after Trevor Lawrence, and Sam Darnold ends up in Indianapolis. And with Frank Reich, with that young talent Jake just mentioned and that defense, I'll take Sam Darnold.
All right, so what I'm understanding is all 3 of you gentlemen are taking the Tennessee Titans to win the AFC South. Is that what I heard correctly? Here is the one thing I will say, and I will show a little bit of love to the Indianapolis Colts. Again, this is 2020. So for me, all the years that I've said that Phillip Rivers is probably one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the entire NFL, I'm actually going to show him a little bit of love right now. Why? Because he has Frank Reich. And to Jake's point, he has a bunch of young guys who in the playoffs might surprise a lot of people. The biggest knock that it's been on Phillip Rivers is the glass ceiling for him has been the fact that he could actually make it to the playoffs, but couldn't beat Tom Brady. Well, Tom Brady's no longer in the AFC. Now, if he can find a way, and I'm not saying this is happening, if he can find a way to beat these three guys, because I think this is how it's going to go down for him, should they be the number 5 seed. He's got to beat Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry, which I know he's an offensive guy, but he's got to find a way to stay in the game, not shoot him out of game. Next after that, he's got to beat Patrick Mahomes, who is just on a whole nother level when it comes to playing this style of football. And then lastly, he's got to beat another veteran quarterback in Big Ben Roethlisberger. If he can do that, which I'm not saying it's impossible, just improbable, there is a possibility for the Colts, because I think that young team will then gravitate towards him. And we know that Colts defense, even though to Alex's point they did get exposed, they have shown signs of being a force. And as we say, defense wins championships. Gentlemen, last topic here, and then we're going to get out of here on the Sports Arena tonight. And I've got to bring all three of you in on this, so let's discuss it. Well, we know Drew Brees is out. Taysom Hill has been the starter. I got to ask y'all one simple question. Who right now gets more credit? Taysom Hill for remaining the backup and playing well, or is it just the genius that is Sean Payton? Jake, I'm going to let you go first on this one, my brother.
I'm going to go with Sean Payton. It's not Taysom Hill. Sean Payton is the reason why Taysom Hill got $21 million. Sean Payton is the reason why he was able to bring Latavius Murray back from the dead and become a top running back. He's the reason why they had 30 rushes, 178 yards, and 2 touchdowns against that Broncos defense that sacked Taysom Hill 3 times. Not to mention, Taysom Hill has Michael Thomas, Jared Cook, and he only got 78 yards passing. Are you kidding me with that? He had 2 rushing touchdowns, granted, but that's only because Sean Payton knows how to run his quarterbacks. Look at Teddy Bridgewater last year. He was undefeated when Drew Brees was out. Undefeated, and it actually set him up with a $60 million contract with Matt Rule and Joe Brady in Carolina. It's all Sean Payton because he knows how to utilize his talent. He knows he has a great defense that's ranked 2nd overall, and he knows that if he keeps running the rock with Kamara and Latavius Murray, this team will be just fine until Drew Brees comes back. But Taysom Hill is a B- level quarterback, but he is a versatile talent that can be able to score just enough points to keep this team in it and have the Saints defense play some very solid defense for the 4 quarters. Otherwise, no way. I am not going to give any credit to saying that Taysom Hill is the reason. It's Sean Payton. That's why he has a nice little Super Bowl ring and against the Indianapolis Colts.
All right, Mike, Mr. Caratenuto, believe in the Pac-12. Talk to me about who you're giving more credit to, sir.
Look, Jake's got good points. Taysom Hill, it's only a second starter quarterback. And I'm not one to rush to judge. People say the guy has like 3 starts and they automatically know how he's going to be as a player. Yes, Sean Payton is a genius, but here's the thing. It's only his second start as a quarterback. He didn't have to throw the ball too much yesterday. And I think Sean Payton literally felt sorry for the Broncos. And again, I know you want to win a game, but come on. With no quarterback, that defense probably could have had 12 to 15 sacks. I mean, they could have been a lot worse for Denver. That being said, I do give credit to Sean Payton, but Taysom Hill's got to make the throws. I mean, he's got to make the plays. He's been around the offense. He has to understand it. And he even said last week it was less pressure. I mean, there's always pressure, but only coming in for one play, knowing he had to do the right thing all the time. And not that he doesn't have to do the right thing as a quarterback, but yeah, Sean Payton's an offensive genius. He'll bring him along slowly because he can. And Taysom Hill's not going to turn the ball over. Like you said, when you have a Kamara, when you have a Michael Thomas, and he himself that can run the ball, it still is more of a nightmare for defensive coordinators because literally you do have to account for anybody. And it's not like you can set a spy on Taysom Hill because Michael Thomas is going to run rampant through the defense. So will Kamara. So yeah, Sean Payton is an absolute offensive genius. It still pains me to say that every time because he should be the Dallas Cowboys head coach. That's a story for another time. I know it's a story for another time. I'm just saying he is going to turn. Taysom Hill's going to make the plays he needs to as this time goes on because Sean Payton can give it. It can be baby steps. You go to what your opponents do. The Saints are just fine, and like you said, like Jake said, the defense is going to keep them in every game, and they're going to punch people in the mouth, and they have enough offensive weapons around him to make it easy for him.
All right, Alex, final thought from you, sir, on this topic. Taysom Hill or Sean Payton?
I'm embarrassed and upset that this is even a question.
We're going to take a 30-year-old quarterback that up until a Drew Brees injury never even started an NFL game and say that he's the reason why the New Orleans Saints are winning right now? The defense is ranked number 1, giving up 284.9 yards a game. Ever since those whoop-de-whoop Tampa Bay fans were talking out the side of their mouth, the defense has woke up and has been the reason why Taysom Hill can look lethargic at quarterback and they still win games. Newsflash, Denver didn't have a starting quarterback yesterday, yet they managed to score the same amount of points that the Tampa Bay Bucks did with the quarterback and a full arsenal of weapons.
Ooh.
Number 3, Sean Payton is an excellent game planner. He is like Bill Belichick. He's playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers. Don't think for a second that Drew Brees is going to be back, because I've got some oceanfront property in Montana to sell you if you think 8 to 9 cracked ribs is going to come back in 3 to 4 weeks' time. No, we might see him in the postseason, and that's a might. When Taysom Hill starts looking bad, look for Jameis Winston to come in and take the reins. He needs time with the playbook. Taysom Hill's been on this team for 3 years, and you see his quarterback play. Can he even read the playbook? Last but not least, for all Kamara owners, I feel you. I feel your pain. Taysom Hill, won't you hand off the damn ball or throw the damn ball? You are not the quarterback, running back, tight end. Damn it, you are costing people money. If I have to lose my fantasy football because your ass wants to be quarterback, running back, and still involved in all these touchdowns, you're going to get a letter from me. Hand off the damn football.
Nobody cares about our fantasy team.
Didn't you say that?
Wow.
Weren't
Right.
you the one who said that a couple weeks ago? No one gives a damn about your fantasy football team.
Yeah, with Todd Gurley. Gurley.
No, we said
I'm
that
not
about Nick
saying-
Chubb. It's about Nick
I'm
Chubb.
just saying.
Oh,
okay?
yeah.
I'm just saying.
All right. Jake, I know you got one more thing, sir. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
I got one more thing. Guess who Taysom Hill is playing next week? Atlanta at Atlanta. And you think that they remember that 24-9 blowout? I think so. Matt Ryan's playing well. Raheem Morris might possibly be the new head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. It's possible. So there's a lot to unpack here. I do want to say one final thing here because Alex kind of got me all mad here. Sarah Fuller became one of the SEC Players of the Week. She was the kicker for the University of Vanderbilt, and she rightfully deserved to be one of the Players of the Week for the SEC. If you have a problem at all, tweet me at Both Sides Sports. I will give you the reason why she truly deserves it, because guess what? That's the first time I've seen a woman in a college football uniform, and it goes to show that women are amazing people that can even just do whatever the hell they want. And it's not going to be the last time that we see a woman in a college football uniform. I just wanted to say that because it was a mess on Twitter today.
You know what?
Oh, it was. Hey, it was
hold on.
awesome. Real quick, Eric, as a soccer player, I know she can kick it even further because they said in practice she was crushing it down to the 5. I think she got nervous on that first one because I know she can crush it.
Listen, she got it out of her system. Alex, go, but then I'm getting the final word on this. Go ahead, sir.
All right. Now, to piggyback off of Jake's point, look at the people who are upset. Look at the Karens who are upset about this. They all have something in common. But I'm going to be the detractor on this one. I'm going to be real. You're going to play NCAA sports. You're going to be held to the same caliber as men. I expect you to produce.
Fine. And
Start hitting field goals. You wanted this smoke by accepting the position. All that hate and bickering, you're going to get a buffer from it. It's time for you to show what you can do.
And you know what? I'm going to end the show by simply saying this. Everybody knows how I feel about women in sports, especially with me covering the WNBA that I did this season. And a big shout out to Kelly Kane, the PR director, and that entire organization from James Wade all the way down to all the people on the Chicago Sky team. Women are in sports. They are just as competitive. They are just as hungry. They are just as driven. For what Sarah Fuller did, I'm going to tell you this right now. To all them little young girls out there watching, get prepared because we're going to see more of them. And you're absolutely right, Alex. They are going to be held to a higher level because they are taking this position, because they want this position. But damn it, when they produce, you damn sure better give them all the love, all the praise, and all the respect they bleepity deserve. Y'all know what I want to say, but I'm not going to say it, even though this is my goddamn show. These women are going to be here. So people, get used to it. And when I say people, y'all know who I'm talking about. That's it. Mic drop. We're out of here. Mike Harrison, Jake Longholt, Alex Fleming, your man Eric Wilson, Sports Arena. Hey, final 4 words. Women are in sports. And as Alex says, deal with it.